Now, as we saw in the last film, Jim Vincent is on the way to making a complete recovery. But you need to know that it isn't an easy journey. As Wacken said, there's no magic pill. Remember, all the hard work is done by you, and it is hard. What you're having to do is to change the way that you emotionally feel about yourself, and more importantly, your playing. Now, when you've built up this taken for granted view about how you see your world, it is hard to start working on seeing your life from a different perspective, or if you like, seeing your world through the eyes of someone else. If we all thought and felt the same, then we'd all have focal dystonia. Or not. Rob Egerton is finding it hard, but he's certain that he's on the right road despite the difficulties he's had.
I knew, without Jürgen telling me, that there's no magic wand. You know, you got to. There's a lot of hard graft, and it's not been easy. The sound-wise, there's probably not a great deal of improvement. But then, as Wacken says, you know, don't worry about the sound. The sound is it's what you do before the sound actually comes out. You know, before you even blow in the instrument, this is the important thing. So I'm still a long way from playing freely, definitely. But if it transpires that I never play again, it's because I've thrown in the towel, and I'm not prepared to do that. I'm positive about it. I'm still positive. I still know that I'm definitely on the right track, and it's, you know, you've just got to be patient. You know, it's if you get frustrated, that's bad. You know, if you try and rush things, that's bad. I think that was possibly also. I had such an amazing experience in Madrid that, you know, in my mind I was almost playing again when I came home, and of course, you know, I wanted to kind of get things moving on and rush things a little bit, and got a bit impatient, and I think that kind of that doesn't help at all.
Getting into the musical profession is not an easy task, as we all know, and Rob can see how the stresses and strains of trying to get on in the music world can have a detrimental effect on a player's emotional well-being.
It's a lot to do with the competition. At college, at music college, of course, there's a great deal of competition, and you know, there's always going to be people considerably better. And but you know, if you want to be a professional musician, you know you have to be absolutely the best you can possibly be, and it's striving. I mean, it's impossible to strive for perfection, but you know, you still try and get there almost at all costs, and take shortcuts and overdo it. You know.
Okay. So, I mean, if you feel you're not quite getting up to that kind of level, how do you end up feeling about that?
It's it's frustrating. I remember when I first started to recover from the first incident. I was never more than about. I consider myself never more than about 80% where I wanted to be, and it was that last 20%. Oddly enough, and this is another reason why I think the FD symptoms were kind of still under the subconscious, was that if I had some time where I could do a lot of practice, a week or a fortnight, and I did a lot of practice, I'd end up playing worse after those 2 weeks than I did if I didn't practice as much. Oddly. So it was just that, you know, and it came to a point where I thought, well, is it simply a confidence thing? You know, this last 20%, you know, up in the practice room, you know, all the range was there and everything, but then on the bandstand, you know, the range wasn't there, and I thought, well, is it a confidence thing, or is it that I'm trying? But I think it turns out that I was trying too hard on the stand, you know, and trying not to split that, whatever.
Yeah, but it's funny, isn't it? Because you say about in the practice room you can do it,
Yeah.
and on on the bandstand
Yeah.
it's a different kind of thing. So it's like what gets in the way?
It's the fear, if you like, of not getting it right.
It's fear of failure.
Yeah, the fear of failure. Yeah. Mm.
Because if you don't get it right, what happens then?
Well, in actual fact, nothing happens.
That's the point, though. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. But again, you've been called to do this gig, and there's 3 other trombone players sat next to you who are all good,
Yeah.
and as you know, I mean, if you play well, you'll get more calls from it, and if you don't,
Yeah.
you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot hanging on it. I think you've got to pressure to play your best and to come across as a reasonably good player.
But it's kind of like how we're left feeling after a Duff gig or something like that. Yeah.
It's shattering, and in fact, I did a gig. One of the last gigs I did, because obviously I kind of pulled out of all gigs that I had, and it was with Martha Reeves, and it should have been a really great gig. It should have been really good fun. The dots were easy, and big crowd, and it should have been fantastic. And it was one of the worst experiences I've had because, I was the other guys were obviously all really good, and I just so uptight about not going wrong. Not going. I knew what I was doing, but physically, not splitting something or not, the tensing up and nothing coming out at all. That it was soul destroying, really. Yeah.
Soul destroying. But Rob is determined that one day he will win his battle with Focal Dystonia.
I've talked to people about this, other musicians, and they say, well, it must be absolutely dreadful, absolutely awful, and well, yeah, it is, but you've got to be philosophical about it. So whilst I might not be playing at the moment, in the grand scheme of things, even if it's whoever knows how long, but it could transpire to be just a blip in an otherwise long and fruitful career. But you just got to be patient and philosophical about it.